do is make some platforms that we can use to bring our so that our character doesn't fall through the space. So from the folders that we had brought in from the 2D assets, I'm going to click on the tiles, and you're going to have a bunch of different types of art tiles to use. I'm going to use the one with grass on it. You can use whichever one you'd like. So what we're going to do is just drag it into the scene. And up here with these icons, they're very easy to use. This icon with the 4 arrows allows you to move the objects in the Y and the X axis. So, like so. And this icon allows you to rotate. So it's the one with these little 2 arrows going like in a circle. And you can use it to rotate it. Let me zoom in here. So we can rotate it on the Y, and we can also rotate it on the X. Well, you really can't see much of a difference just because we're in 2D mode. But if you want to, let me make sure that rotation is all 0 again. But if you want to, like, make something at an angle or something like that. Although there are tiles on an angle over here. I just hit Control Z to undo what I did. Okay. So what I'm going to do is resize it. And how I can resize an object, instead of going to the inspector and doing it by hand by plugging in numbers over here or by hovering over the values and moving them with these arrows, I'm just going to resize it right here and move my object with icons. So if I hold and drag this white square, I'm going to be able to resize my objects in uniform. If I choose to resize it on the Y by itself, it starts getting distorted. Same thing with the Y. Maybe there may be art objects that you can download where if you change it on the X and the Y, it won't distort. But in this case, this one does. So I'm just going to Control Z everything. And I'm just going to resize it uniformly, like so. And just start building a level. If you like the size of this object, for example, I like the way that I did this one, I'm going to duplicate it so that I have multiples of the same size and I don't have to drag in a new tile and find the perfect size again and do it. So the way that you duplicate something is that you highlight it on the hierarchy, right click, duplicate, and now you have a copy. The copy is always going to be on top of the original. So right now it looks as if I didn't copy at all, but I do have it in my hierarchy. So what you're just going to do is move it on the X, and you will see the item that is a duplicate. So I'm just going to merge these and build a platform. Alright. So I'm satisfied with the platform that I just made. So what I'm going to do is duplicate that entire platform so that I have multiples of it. So the way to do that would be to select all of your items by pressing Shift, and then you're going to duplicate them. And now you have a group of them all. So I'm just going to organize this a little bit more. So now I have 2 platforms. Alrighty. Now for your homework, what you're going to do is build a nice level. And you're going to add things. Like let's say this little character right here. We're going to add them in the back, like so. Let's see what else is in. Put all these little items. So the idea of the homework really is so that you have fun, and that you create a level and just add a bunch of items and things and make your level look nice. That's really the idea of the homework. Is not to program or anything like that. I'm just gonna add one block over here. So okay. And you can continue to keep making, even though you won't be able to see it in your camera view right now, you can continue to make this level as big as you would like. Because you can see it in your scene view, even though the camera doesn't do it. And we're gonna attach the camera to a little character so that the camera follows the character while they move around. So I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this platform and expand it outside of our camera view. And I'm gonna duplicate it again, and I'm gonna put it under. Alright, and I hit Control S to save everything. So now that we have some items in the scene, what we need now is to bring in a character to move around in the space. And the way that I'm going to do that is by going to that standard assets folder that we had imported before. And it should be in your assets folder called standard assets. So you're going to click on that, and you're going to double click on 2D and double click on prefabs folder. Prefabs are prefabricated objects. So there are things that already have a bunch of components attached to them. They have scripts. And these are just some standard ones that Unity places in the software so that you can start prototyping and making things without much effort. So the thing that we want is this character robot. It's a character controller that already has input, so it already move when you hit the arrow keys and the space key. It'll do things because it's already prefabricated. So I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to drag it into our scene. Alright. And to test things in our game, what we are going to do is hit this play button. Now we're actually going to see a problem though. So you saw the character fall straight through the platform. And the reason that is because our character, if we highlight it on the hierarchy, and if we zoom in on it, he has two colliders. He has this circle right here, and he has a rectangle. And those colliders allow him to collide with other objects to let them know that there's something there. Right now, none of our tiles down here have any colliders. So, in essence, the character doesn't have anything to fall back on. So what we want to do next is add colliders to all of these tiles so that our character collides with them and he'll be able to walk across the platforms. So we're going to do that by selecting one of the tiles, and we're going to go in the inspector and add a component. So I'm going to click add component, and the component that I want, we're going to type it into the search box. It's called Box Collider 2D. There are two box colliders, but the one that just says box collider is for 3D objects. And if we attach a 3D object collider to a 2D object, it's not going to behave the same as if we were going to put a box collider 2D. So make sure that it says 2D right here. So we're going to add that. And now we're going to see this neon green outline surrounding the object. So that allows you to know that there is a collider attached. So what you're going to do is add that component to every single tile. Now the way to do it really easy so that you don't have to go one by one is just to select them and add the component to them, like so. I just held down the shift button to be able to select everything. If you want to select things out of order, the if you press down Control key, it'll allow you to do that. That allows you to select items that are not all one right after another. Okay? Alright, so now all my tiles have box colliders. I'm going to do Control Save, and when I hit play now, our character should be standing on the platform. And if I use the arrow keys, he'll be able to run. If I press spacebar, he'll jump. Alright? Now, what I want to do is be able to run along the platforms, because right now, our character, he keeps running inside the scene mode, but we lose sight of him because the camera is not moving, it's static right here. So the only thing that we can see is what the camera has its eyes on. So when we come back, we'll be able to see our little guy. So what we want now is for the camera to follow him. So I'm going to unhit play, and I'm going to highlight the character. Oh, I'm sorry. What I'm going to do is drag the camera to the character. That's what I want to do. I'm going to hit Control Save there. And now when I hit play, the camera will follow. So now the only problem that we really have is that if we fall off of the platforms, we're going to fall forever. And I'm going to do that right now. Okay. So now what we want to do is add invisible walls and an invisible ground so that if we fall right now, we won't lose the character forever. Eventually, we're going to create respawn points so that when your character falls, they will start up on the platform again, but we'll learn those things little by little. So what we are going to do right now is go to the game objects over here, and we're going to create empty. When we create empty, I'm just gonna click on the object and I'm gonna rename it. I'll rename this left wall. And all we're going to do is add the box collider 2D component to it. That's all. We're gonna add the collider, and now the object that we just created, left wall, is right over here. Let's drag it to the edge of the game and let's resize it. And make it really tall so that even when you jump, you won't go over the box. I'm just going to put it right there at the end of the platform. And I'm going to do the same thing for the ground by duplicating it. So I'm going to hit right click, duplicate, and I'm going to move it. And now I'm going to resize it so that it's very wide, so that it covers the whole ground. So alright. And then I'm going to, let's rename this as well. I'm going to name it grounds. And I'm going to duplicate the left wall so that we can move it on the right hand side. Now, if your level is longer than mine, that's completely fine. Maybe your right wall will be like over here somewhere or further, and that's fine. I'm just showing you for my level where I'm gonna put it, which is at the edge of my last platform. Right. And if you really want to be very precise, you can always zoom in all the way and do it properly if you really are about that life. Okay, so now this is ready. So I'm just going to Control Save, and I'm going to play it to see how everything operates. So now we can't fall off this platform, and if we go over here, we are in this invisible ground that we created. Oop. Awesome. Now we go over here, and we can't fall. Now, if you see this right here when I jump, I can't go up, and that is because the collider on the tiles is right there, and it doesn't allow me to go through it. The way to fix that is very easy. I'm gonna do it while the game is playing. So right now, my tint for when I play the game is purple. You can actually customize these colors. I'll show you how to do that in a second. But if I make any changes while the play button is on, Unity will not save them. So everything will revert back to its original position or original form. But I'm going to do that just so that I know what size my colliders need to be. So I'm going to select the tile that's right above it. And right here in this box collider, it does have a size on the Y, it's 0.7. So I believe that if I decrease that, there we go. Now if I jump, he can actually jump a little bit higher. But however, the problem now, and I'll show you, is that when I go back to that platform, I'm going to sink. Do you see that? So before, because size was 0.7, oops, before the size was 0.7, and it was like right in line with the platform, but because I changed it, now it's a bit different. So you want to make sure that the changes that you make will look nice. It'll look like it's in line. So the way to do that would be to do this offset on the Y. So by increasing the offset, I can actually fix that issue. And I can do this offset and then do the resizing again. And then just do it correctly in that sense. You have to like move both of them until the neon outline of the collider is the same size of the platform. That's how you would fix that. Again, I'm doing all those changes while the play button is on, so none of the changes that I just made will be saved. But if you figure out the proper proportions, you can just write down this number, this Y and these Y values from the offset and the sizing. Write them down, and then once you hit play, you can change those numbers on all the tiles. That way everything will be fixed and it'll be nicer. Okay. So now the last thing that we really need to do is change this robot character animations to the ones that we had imported, which are these little aliens. So there's a green one, a blue one, and a pink one. You can choose whichever one you want, but the process is the same.